Episode 6. I can't believe we're saying it's only episode 6. But here we are. Unfortunate for the superfans amongst us. We lost one of our own, our dear old friend Dino. What an absolutely incredible human. He's such a nice guy. And oftentimes I think that nice guys don't finish well in Survivor, but he actually had a lot of potential. And last week I said, welcome Dino, Mr. Paranoid, and that's actually just where I think he tripped up. There's, I said to a friend of mine during the week, I said, there's so many things you don't know that you don't know when you step onto the beach on Survivor. And the paranoia is one of the things that you will never, there's nowhere in the world, unless you are like a spy or an undercover agent somewhere, where the paranoia claps you like it does in this game. Especially if you're a fan like Dino. You're constantly, the cogs are going off in your brain. Rabbit, we're talking. It's not about you. Come and say hello to the people if you must. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about her. She's been very needy this weekend. Come say hello. Come say hello. Say hello to the people. Okay, now that you're done, don't knock over my wine. Hopefully she will be quiet now. So the one thing you don't anticipate are these weird and wonderful feelings that you've never felt in real life before. And the paranoia is one of them. You can't escape it. And for me, it only settled in, I think, after merge sometime. And the longer you're in, the worse it gets. And mine clapped me about maybe 7 or 8 days from the end. It started to really interfere with decision makings. And that's why it fumbles a normal decision, because you have like 1 + 1 = 2. But in Survivor, you're like, but what if 2 is actually the 1? And then 1 and 2 are actually working together, and maybe it equals 3. You literally can't do a simple, straightforward thought. And so I think Dino, as he was going through the game, from the moment he stepped on, his paranoia and his overthinking completely put a cog in a stick into his wheel, if you will, and he's just been flying over the handlebars ever since. So I'm sad to see him go, and for somebody who is such a mega fan and worked so hard, the man has entered for so many years and finally made his way onto the game, and he made it into a season that is just full of other huge players. And I think he's also made it onto a season that has a lot of twists and turns. So you may have a flawless game. You may be the ultimate in Survivor players. Great social game, great strategies. And then all of a sudden, something has been thrown at you, like a second shuffle. One of my colleagues from our season sent me a message saying, John, what are the chances of a third before merge? It is kind of getting to the point where you're just like, as a viewer, I'm enjoying it. I love when things are thrown in and we have a bit of a shake-up. But as a player, it breaks my heart for them, because you've worked so hard. And sometimes it's a blessing. Like Warda. Warda was at the bottom, and all of a sudden she was given a little bit of a lifeline and some more people that she used to work with again. So in some ways, it's a really nice little addition. And from watching it on the couch, it's really, it's great because it mixes it up. And I understand where the producers are coming from, right? They want to have interfered so much that if I was on a tribe, I have made connections with almost everybody in the game. So that when we make it into merge and I decide I'm now going to move from my alliance, which I'm in at the time of merge, I can then go to one of the other people that I've had relationships with in the time that the game has been going. So that's where they're trying to go, so that it's not this robot Survivor playing where the majority of people get into an alliance and they start to chop people down and it's very predictable. That's what they're trying to avoid as a producer of the show. They want people to make relationships. They want people to form friendships and alliances. And like, for example, you look at the relationship, and it's one of the most exciting for me, is Rainier and Amy. They have this secret alliance. And one of the things that Rainier says as he's walking away from when they sort of get back together on a tribe, he says, it's us until the end, and then we can tell people, something somewhere along those lines. And that's like the ultimate goal for a Survivor player, is to have a really, really, really solid alliance. The problem is that alliance, they went their separate ways. And as he mentioned, every time they went to a tribal council, he would just be praying that when they walk back into a challenge the next day, that Amy's still there. His number one is still there. So that's going to be a very, very interesting duo to watch. And if the two of them can maneuver their own little alliances to better serve each other, that will be a great twosome. And Rainier is smart enough to say that I also want to take Sean with. And we haven't seen enough of Sean to actually know his reasons why. Does he see Sean as somebody he can definitely beat? Does he see somebody like Amy as somebody he can beat? Or is that legitimately the best two people that he thinks can get him further into the game? Obviously, we're not seeing everything, so we won't know the intricacies of what every person sees in the other players. But that little threesome could be very dangerous. And the other twosome that is going to be very dangerous is Tyson and Kieran. I thought it was a threesome. I thought it was Dino as well, but clearly they were like, Nance, Dino, you gone. And I understand their reasoning. They are saying that Dino is a flip-flopper and he's ready to work with whoever is ready. So, yeah, it's full on. Let me just quickly get to some of the comments here. And there were quite a few questions as well. So we'll clap those out as well. Yes, I do still have wine. Can make a delivery for somebody if they need, you know. Guys, how did you get caught out again? I mean, like amateur hour here. Amateur hour. I don't want to comment. I just want to scroll. Thank you, Instagram. Lots of comments on the wine. Right. Yeah, sad episode, but a golden one. I will get to my notes in a few seconds, so we'll unpack the whole episode if I can just scroll like an actual human. Having paranoia is the one thing, and being at the bottom and being paranoid is really hard. Absolutely, Ilgard nailed it on the head. He was at the bottom because of his paranoia. I think his paranoia, do you know, his paranoia wouldn't let him, I'm speculating here, but from somebody who's been in the game and sitting in that position, it jeopardizes every actual relationship that you're making. So what is the best at Tribal Council? We're going to chat about what Chappies enters the room. Who needs saving? Guys, this episode was so much. All right, lots of support for Kieran and Tyson. Lots of comments on the wine. Just to let everybody know, I'm drinking Beaumont Family Wines, a lovely 2020 Chenin Blanc. It's delicious. I'm not a massive wine drinker, but I always have enough. So, you know where to come. Parklands is the place. Okay, so we're about 15 days in at the moment, right? So you are at the point where the majority of the people are missing home, missing luxuries. This weather is horrible, guys. That is the one thing I actually cannot weigh in on. I don't have enough experience. Dino's here, guys. Am I the only one slow clapping? Thanks for the support, everybody. The one thing I can't weigh in on is how the weather impacts a person. We had maybe 3 or 4 days of rain in our season, and even on my island. I actually think it differed to which island you were on, because the one island had it bad and we were sort of like in a little pocket of loveliness. So we had our first night was wet and cold, and then it didn't really get much worse from that. And these people are literally living in rain and cold and wind. So we're 15 days in. Your skin is breaking. You cannot have, there's no, like if you are like me and you have a few crevices on your body, like under my barbage, there's lots of places for chafing. If you never dry, that is very uncomfortable, guys, very uncomfortable. So they are in like a really horrible place now where you start to think about, is it worth me being here? Am I going to win R1 million? Because do I want to go that far if I'm not going to win R1 million? And that's a really horrible place to be in, right? And Sean is irritated. Sean's machete is gone. If you don't have a machete in Survivor or an axe or a knife, you literally can sit around and do less than you were before, which is very little. He is begging and pleading and being annoyed with the machete situation. And I have a feeling that they probably, when they hid their stuff, couldn't find the stuff, right? So, yeah. I love the moments that we get when they return from tribal council, because that's where we get like raw emotion. That is where, and after the tribal council that they had last week, remember I told you it was 4.5 hours. That is a long time to be sitting at a place with super high anxiety levels. And even if you're not in the firing line, your anxiety levels are like through the roof. Like somebody sitting with the immunity necklace around their neck is also anxious. It's a weird place to be in. They come back from that into a dark camp. They sat in the pouring rain. I wanted to say a different word. They sat in the pouring rain the previous episode, and they're now coming back to a shelter which leaks. It's horrible, and they have to rebuild the fire again. They're literally like, especially after 4.5 hours, your fire's dead. Great, now you must start again. And then you get that real emotion of people coming back and telling you how they really felt. And one of the people that was taking the brunt of that emotion was Nicole. And Nicole's like whole target was that when they said, okay, you guys can start eating, and she went, cheers, like in your face, MFers, I'm going to eat some boerewors roll and have a pina colada because we're rad. And I think that I always speak about that fine line between being a dickhead, being a bad person, and like the game of Survivor. And in that moment, when you know everybody in front of you literally is going to like bare their souls in tribal council, and you are sitting, firstly getting to see all of that, and you are eating things that people have been like having dirty dreams about. So Nicole was really not the fan favorite amongst the castaways when they got back to the beach. Very, very interesting. I think she's kind of been cruising along under the radar, but that kind of rubbed people up the wrong way. Is it something that will stick around and follow her? I don't think so. People will get over that kind of thing quite quickly. And yeah. Well, fingers crossed for her, right? Tyson played his idol correctly. It was interesting to see. You could see he was very angry after tribal council, and he's going to sort of exact revenge after, on all the people that messed up his plans. And it was going to be interesting to see where him and Kieran go, because Tyson seems like this like, I want to say flamboyant, but that's the wrong word, but it kind of makes sense. He's flamboyant with his like raw emotions. He's like quick to be that emotion. And Tyson seems to be this like control. He's almost like an antacid. He's just like put a little dampener on it. Cool, just chill. We'll get there. We'll get to where you need to be. So that the combination of the two is so interesting to watch. And then, interestingly enough, I didn't realize that Antoni was like part of that threesome. But here we are. Antoni just steps in, and she's part of the threesome there. There was a comment when I asked for questions. Somebody said the biggest squander of the season thus far is Antoni not looking for that idol. 100%, I agree with you. However, Santoni and I think, are quite alike in the way that we have like brain mouth. there's very little filter between thinking it and saying it. I'm working on it. So Santoni has this idea in that second, and instead of like pondering it over and perhaps going back and looking herself in that very spot, she just thinks it, says it, boom, and immediately she's like, what an idiot, what an idiot. But these things happen, guys. Filters, if you don't got one, what you gonna do, right? So Tyson has another idol. He's got another package in his package, which is what I like to refer to it as. Whether that is something he's willing to share, it seemed as if it was his, because Santoni's not exactly going to grab it out of his package area when she needs it. Tyson is 100% looking after Tyson and perhaps Kieran if he really needed to, but that idol is his. There's absolutely no 2-3 ways about it. You can see he's like, oh, good, look what I found. Meanwhile, it was Santoni with the obvious directions to said idol, and there was absolutely no conversation about whose idol it is. Anyway, it is what it is in Survivor. Possession's 9/10 of the law. So, there you go. Let's get to that challenge. Wow. I mean, classic challenge. Swim a bit, grab something, go and do a puzzle. Swim, like, not a bit, but like swim for your life. Like far. It's unnecessary, rabbit. That swim was not a short swim. And my favorite shots of the episode are obviously from a drone, because did you see, who was it? I think it was Anele when he was struggling to get back. Did you see how far away he was? That tide was like, bye, see ya. That came in, the wind picked up on those poor fellas. If you are not a fit swimmer and you can be as fit as you want, forget about it. You are not going anywhere except where the ocean or that what looked like a river mouth wants you to go. Horrible, horrible, horrible weather, horrible wind. I used to be a lifeguard for a lot of my teenage years, and I used to be very comfortable in the water. But even as somebody who's comfortable in the water, there comes a point when you start to panic. And if you've never been a fan of the water and you don't often go in, and you've never been in this position, you won't know what it is like. It's an irrational thing that kicks in. And when you start to panic, you literally think you're about to die. In Survivor, there is always a safety net. There are producers, there are directors, there are medics, there are divers in the water. There are people there to protect you. But even so, you are, in that moment, you are alone. And you're in this water. It's brown. You can't see a thing. That wind is pushing you. The tide is pushing you. The panic will set in very quickly. Anela seemed so strong as he set out. And all of a sudden, you saw the panic start to come by. And it's because the more he swam, the more he just wasn't going where he needed to be. Like, scary if you're in that situation. Poor fella needed help from a lifeguard. I don't know, is Chappies a lifeguard? Chappies, you're on here. Are you a lifeguard? Why is it that you're so comfortable in the water? Are you just like a super strong short swimmer? Or what is, like, I don't need a full bio and a backstory, but just, for me, somebody tagged you in, I hope he's still here, otherwise I'm just talking to a random bunch of people here. Somebody tagged you in a life-saving meme or something. I don't know if it was a South African team or something. So it makes me think that you are somehow involved in life-saving, in swimming in the ocean, which, by the way, is a completely different beast than swimming in flat, calm water. It's very different. LaRue says, guys, it really was crazy. There was a massive rainstorm in KZN the day before, so the river came down super heavy. It was insane. We were on standby with the lifesavers, and Chappies just went. Guys, that moment that Chappies did that, again, that line between Survivor and real life. You saw it unfolding. Survivor, you like, okay, everything's safe here. And then all of a sudden he was like, these people need help. And, Chappie's just got back. He says, no, just very passionate about swimming. I swim 5Ks a week on average. Awesome. I drive about that distance every day. So awesome. But guys, that moment when Chappies was like, Anela's in trouble, I'm going to go, swam. The water, I guarantee you, wasn't warm. The wind was pumping and cold. Jumped in, went to help Anela. So swam to Anela, swam Anela to the shore with his thing, then swam back to the platform. And on the way saw Santoni in trouble. Helped her go. Cold water. Tired. Straining muscles. Okay. Swam back. I think Warda did fine. Who else was on that tribe? Sean was just chilling there on the platform, freezing his tatas off. Yeah, helped every single one of his people get back to the shore. What an absolutely incredible human being. What is saying, I thank my lucky stars I had experience in choppy seawater. So while I was never scared, it was very hectic. You're not at full strength. That's absolutely another thing to keep in mind. You know, if you're going to go for like an Ironman and swim, or even if you're doing life saving on a Sunday evening, afternoon, and you're going to do a run, swim, run, whatever, push your body. You probably had a lekker meal, a little bit of an energy bar, an Energade, rah, rah, rah. These people are doing it on an empty stomach. Their muscles are starting to disappear. If you haven't had like protein and stuff to feed your body, like I feed mine, then you're going to be in trouble. But this guy just jumped. Right at the end when he had to go back and get the last of the puzzle pieces, you could see he came back and you could see he was struggling with cramps and stuff. What an absolute champion. You know, if he doesn't win Survivor, which I mean he's doing very well, he could do that. If he doesn't win Survivor, there's moments from every season that people remember. This will be one of them, and it's early on. We're only in episode 6, and this will be an episode, a moment that people will remember about this season. The moment that Chappies literally saved the life of like 2 or 3 people in his tribe, with nothing to gain. Although, I mean, it would have had him in good stead if any of those people are on the jury. So, but in that moment, there's no part of him, absolutely no part of him, that thought about, ooh, let me go and help them because this could bode well for my game. He's just not that guy. So absolutely, hats off, everything tipped. Well done, Chappies. Honestly, I think that episode, I rewatched it this afternoon. And in Survivor, right, you've got this 55-minute episode. So there's chunks of little bits of whatever happened over those 2, maybe 3 days. This challenge, I think, was over an hour. Nico was saying at one point when they were doing the puzzle. That part of that episode was 15 minutes alone, minimum. I couldn't get the exact time, but around 15 minutes of the full hour was that bit. It was a massive part of the episode, and it does add to the narrative that Chappies is this well-liked, well-respected guy. He's got a lot of connections. And it's interesting when they get to the next bit of the episode where they have another tribe shuffle, which is at the immunity challenge. And Nico says those words, drop your buffs. Again. So, in Parklands, drop your buffs again. Again, we're rolling the dice on your game. This could either hamper you or push you along, can be a benefit. You never know. Funny story about the way they did it with the paint. There's one thing that I loved about last season. It was how long the paint that they used stuck in Jacques' hair. He said it was some kind of like on steroids, like roof paint or something, because it just would not wash out. This year, it seemed after the challenge, it was almost gone. So they did use some water-based paint. On our season, when we did that bit where they dropped their buffs, and I think we split into 3 that day. I can't quite, I think so, yeah. It was a long time ago, guys. My brain has fried. We split into 3, and they gave us eggs that we needed to like crack, and that was our color. So what they've done is I don't know how they take the egg stuff out. Anyway, they've taken it out and they fill it with paint. I'm not part of the art department. I don't know. So they say, smash it on you. So me, I'm like, I'm not smashing this on my head. I'm not doing anything. So I smash it here. Wah! Thing doesn't break. Okay, I'm like, right. Take 2. Doesn't break. This egg is like the paint in Jacques' season. I probably did it like 6 or 7 times, guys. I was getting a bruise on my shoulder and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I literally had to break it in my hand and then smash it. The egg was one of my hardest competitors in my season, guys. The bloody egg. Yeah. Hilgard also just pointing out that Marisha was also an absolute champion in that episode. She swam 3 times maybe as well. But guys, have you seen her? She's actually being cast as Wonder Woman next week, so I'm happy for her. Right, let's just see a tribe shuffle. Immunity challenge. This I like to call wrestling netball. And they should 100% make it an Olympic sport, because I would enjoy watching that shit all day long. Another moment for 2 tribe members who've just split up to have a conversation, a little powwow over a little wrestle. Renier and Anele, guys, we need 3 men to do this session. Off you go, the 3 men line up, Nico drops the ball, and we're going to wrestle and also run and also play netball. And Anele tackles Renier and they have a little chat. How's it going? No, it's going well. Do you think maybe you guys will, can you send me to immunity if we lose? La 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 la, make it look legit, make it look real. It worked because nobody seemed to notice the little powwow that was happening. Anyway, Nico did. No doubt the producer was like, Nico, please interrupt that little powwow that's happening there. Pointed out. Got up, then joined the other rest of the game while Chappies was going ahead and winning again. Guys, I also wondered to myself at what point Chappies winning and being a hero is going to cost him. Because it's his nature. He's going to do his best no matter what. There's no part of me that believes that Chappies could ever throw a challenge, that Chappies could ever go into a challenge going, I'm really not going to win this one today because I don't want people to notice. That's not who he is. He's going to try 100% at everything. And I think he's on the radar for sure, because Nico, Dino, and Kieran spoke about Santoni and her connection to Chappies, and they want to kind of break that up. So I think Chappies is on the radar, and I think he's going to have to watch his back, because I would not like to compete against him or Marisha after merge. When merge is coming, I'm not too sure. But, yeah, Marisha also in that little wrestling netball game, guys. Oh, he helped Amy as well in the swim. Thanks, LaRue. Yeah. I don't know when merge is going to be. I think we might go to about a 9. I don't know. But we'll know the episode before, so we can chat about that then. But I think, and I've been saying this from the beginning, that the big players are not going to make merge. I think the way that the people are playing, there's going to be 2 or 3 of the big players that make it through, because they would have cut down the others before they got there, which is the smart thing to do. Somebody like Marisha is not going to make it. If she does and she loses 1, she's gone. Same thing with Chappies. If Chappies makes merge, he's got to win everything from day one, because if he loses, he's going home. Guaranteed, unless he's got idols, which there are a few of in the game at the moment. I didn't speak about Dino Red Riding Hood at the challenge, the reward challenge, which was a moment that I think... I know I'm chopping and changing. I just saw it in my notes, which I've missed. That moment where he wants to share, and had it come from anybody else, you would have thought, no strings attached, just trying to be nice. And there is that. Dino is that guy. And then it's interesting because Anesu at a confessional starts to talk about, yeah, I see you, Dino. You want to go back to that tribe and chat to them and drop off the goods. And she's the one who called him Dino Red Riding Hood. Where again, something that's so like honest, and we want to share this with you, comes across as gameplay because of the way that Dino has conducted himself throughout the game. So it's a double-edged sword, trying to play sharesies with your reward. But Marisha goes, drops it off, very like in and out, goodbye, here's your goodies, adios amigos, enjoy your rusks. Sean, a whole big bite, hope your teeth are fine. But that kind of reward, it's gold. If you saw the way they left that challenge, like just completely beaten, getting that little bit of sustenance, and I think they had a shot of almost everybody in the tribe just like having a moment with a pastry. It was amazing. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about the reward challenge. Sorry, I've got ahead of myself here. The puzzle part of that challenge, listen, that is not easy. The tree mail would have mentioned something about taking a dive and having to build something. I remember clearly we did a challenge, and it was for Boerewors rolls, and I was so flippin' angry about it. So bitter. And beer. And biltong, maybe, even. I can't remember. I was so angry, guys. We had to paddle a little canoe, which sank for everybody, out around a little thing in and out of markers, whatever, in the ocean. And then we had to come back and place the paddles in a certain word. Now, we only had a set number of letters, so I think it was like 9 or something, and we had to put them in the right order. But again, your brain doesn't work the same way as it does at home when you can do a little word puzzle and be a champion on your word puzzle. This was different because there were so many different phrases that were running through your brain, and the actual thing was a wind tastes good, and we were like, dogs, this, hot dogs, that. It was bizarre. We could not get it. And when you're in it and you're about 10, 15 minutes into the game and you still haven't got it, you start shouting stuff backwards and forwards. And with us, we said a win tastes good, and the other team put it together before we could. It was so irritating, so annoying. But anyway, they got to enjoy their goodies, and off they went. With this one, I couldn't quite count how many letters were on each of those things, but I think minimum 6. 6 to each different cog, or I want to call it wheel, in that thing. I'm actually surprised that they eventually got to the right thing. There would have been so many options for them. And the key, I always said to people when we went into the challenge, listen carefully. Listen carefully. The president is speaking just now. Oh, it started already. Sorry. Is that listen carefully to what Nico says, because sometimes he gives away the word that it is at the end in his little preamble. But we didn't get there, and they did. Horrible challenge. Woo! Horrible, horrible. Not horrible to watch, just horrible for them. Francois Chappies is saying, when you notice that a life might be in danger, the game comes second in that moment. Absolutely agree with you. Yeah, Jacques' paint situation will live on in infamy. Yeah, LaRue's saying he's super stoked about the twist because it was so unexpected. Absolutely. Everybody would have just been like, now this is it. Now we can go. Just kidding. And it's so funny because in that moment where Nika says, drop your buffs, everybody's, but before we get there, and everybody goes, oh, drop your buffs. Some people, what the, was like, yes, a fish. Yeah, Jacques heard us talking about paint and joined us. The girls were on fire in this challenge. Yo, let's go back to the immunity challenge. Netball, wrestling netball. The women were like, at the first round, they were like, oh, we'll be, and then Warda was throwing people around. Marisha obviously was throwing people around. What a challenge, man. They were going bananas there. And again, when they started, I said to the person next to me, I said, this is hectic. Do you see how deep they are? It's horrible running in water that deep. And it's really, really tiring. And she's like, no, it's not that bad. I was like, trust me, that is hectic. To have to lift me, if I was playing, Nicho's, the water was up to like his shirt. That would have been here for me. I would have been swimming. I'll get there, guys. One day. Fadil says he hopes Chappies makes it to the merge. That tribe shuffle rescued me from drowning in Zamba. Yeah, and it's interesting because Chappies actually has this diplomatic immunity to use in a moment where he thinks, the heat is getting, I'm going to jump. And I think he's only got a couple episodes left to use that if he does. And I think in the promo for the next episode, he does mention something about jumping. So we will see. Amy had a proper moment with her rusk. Guys, have you ever seen people love rusks? And we're a nation of rusk-loving people. And I'm glad that they paid like tribute to a good old bloody buttermilk rusk. You cannot get better. I would actually dip some in my wine, but they're over there in the kitchen. Mumsy makes a killer rusk, guys. I would have actually cried. If I'd got a rusk on Survivor, here's a tidbit. LaRue, if you had given me a buttermilk rusk, I would have cried crocodile tears because Mumsy makes a great buttermilk rusk. But I mean, I cried quite a bit anyways. Vuna knew it was Santuni's birthday. That was part of the reason. Also, it was the most miserable day. We were all cold, wet, struggling conditions. Absolutely. Amy had a sexual moment with her rusk. Righto. Just going through the comments here quickly, guys. Lockdown until 25th of July. Who didn't know that this was going to be extended, guys? Call me. Santoni, I will ask Mumsy to make some rusks. Let me get back to my notes. Let me get to questions quickly. This is one, LaRue, maybe you can answer this because I would assume the question is, can you play Survivor with asthma or something like that? I know in the US you can. I'm assuming you would be allowed to play as long as it's manageable with meds or with an asthma pump, which is always close by. If you have any meds or anything, they're always at hand with the producer or director or the medical team. So if you have asthma or something like that and Survivor is something you want to play, it would have to be worth the risk, right? You would have to be an incredible character. And even if maybe that was part of your, like, you were wanted, like, as just being, like, I don't know, flawed by your asthma, that would be a great story to tell as well. So it would all depend on the person, I would assume. But I don't think anything can hold you back in terms of something that is treatable. But yeah, we've seen a lot of people with different ailments play the game, and I mean sometimes you don't even know because it gets managed just off screen. I mean, I was taking a contraceptive in the morning, a pill. A lot of people taking blood pressure meds. All those sort of things happen off of camera because it's not part of it. You don't need to see us take my pill in the morning, guys. All the old crockety people going for their meds in the morning. Come on. But yes, probably you can play. What other questions have we got here? How big a factor do you think circumstances played in allowing a shared reward? USA rarely allows it. Listen, I think after what they just went through in that reward, I think very few people would have said no. It's very seldom that you have the tribe offering. That spread was big, and I think what everybody had just been through, and I think also perhaps the fact that Chappies had been such a champion and also deserved some kind of thank you or award or something. It's just, yeah. I again, if it's a good part of the story, I don't see why they would not have it. That was a moment that was really touching. That the one tribe shares the reward with the other tribe. That's not something you're just going to leave out of an episode. That's not something you're going to just say no to, because then Nico looks like the bad guy. Nobody wants to see Nico as a bad guy. Have you seen him? He's delicious. In your view, who walked out best and worst out of this tribe swap? Chappies himself has admitted that he needed it. Warde needed it for sure. I think Dino walked out the worst, to be honest with you, because look, I don't know what Dino's play was on the episode, right? Because we don't see every conversation that he has. What we did see was him saying, I'm going to trust Kieran and Tyson, and if it doesn't work out, if they are lying to me, then it won't work out. And that is what happened. I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was an exit interview or he posted a post on Instagram and Facebook or Twitter or somewhere there on the socials, mentioning how he was feeling and what went through his mind and everything. It might have been on there where he mentioned he maybe should have worked with Santoni or tried to make something happen. But again, Kieran and Tyson did a really good job of making him chill. And the moment Santoni played her idol, it was like you could see he was like, we're in trouble here. So all right, LaRue just made a comment in response to the question about somebody being able to play if you have asthma. Sure, a person with asthma would be allowed to play. Yara Auntie Letitia, point made. Absolutely. How many meds was she taking every day? Fadil saying he doesn't think the tribe swap hurt Dino's game. It was the way he played. I think Dino had fewer people who would have backed him up, or maybe fewer targets. So the reason I say that Dino came off the worst after the tribe shuffle was that because he was sort of in a position where as Tyson clearly pointed out, or Kieran, I can't remember who made the point, that it was Tyson. He said that, it was a 3-3 when Anela came back. So they had to vote out Dino, one of the other members of the previous 2.130. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's where he came off worst, because he had been scheming with other people and he didn't have another target. Santoni was the other target, but Santoni was voting with them. So at that moment, she was a good number for them, whereas Dino was questionable. So I think that it wasn't necessarily that he came off with numbers. I think that he came off on a tribe where there wasn't another big target at that point in the game. We'll see. I don't know how far Santoni can go anymore now. I don't know. Will I cry when she leaves? I might. She's incredible TV, and she's one of the favorites, man. On all the blogs and podcasts and stuff, she's way up there. People are loving her character on the show, and I think she's like a little bit a part of everything. And that's one of the problems I think that everybody's seeing with her, is that she has many fingers and many pies, which is what I would like to have in my face right now. Chappie says, sharing the reward was such a beautiful representation of South African heart. Yeah, that's another thing that maybe the Americans wouldn't have done it. But in South Africa, that little Ubuntu moment was quite touching. Yeah, Fadil, that's why you're on the longest date. Am I correct? And not Survivor. Varys is here. Hi, Tommy. Even though Santoni was not in danger, I respect her playing it. I would have rather regret playing it when I didn't need to than have it in my back pocket. That's exactly what she says when she goes up. My sister said to me, before I leave, before I left that, she would rather have me play an idol badly than go home with it in my pocket. Absolutely. I'm just happy that the whole thing panned out, that she knew where it was, and that she classy got up like the badass that she is and said, excuse me, Nico, I'd like to play my idol. And everybody was like, excuse me, what now? Who's what? Such a great moment. Sharing the reward reminded me of the Australian Survivor. They always hugged and shared, and also seemed more friends than enemies throughout, even though they were in separate tribes. 100%. And I think that the Australian Survivor for me is more enjoyable to watch. I don't watch that much American Survivor anymore because I find it too like cutthroaty, like it's very cold, and I don't know what it is, but the Australian Survivor I really enjoy. It's got great characters, and that camaraderie that you mentioned is definitely a part of it. It's so enjoyable to watch. There's such nice people, having to be dickheads sometimes, excuse my language. Where can we watch the new Survivor Australia? I'm not sure. Maybe we would have done a little dealio. I don't know the back end of the dealings, but yeah, otherwise you'll have to speak to somebody who downloads stuff, you know. Don't listen to me. We've really been set up for a highly competitive merge, multiple swaps, sharing awards, chatter at challenges, very connected players. That is what they're hoping for, right? So the producers are hoping for a lot of connections, that when we get to merge, there isn't the set up storyline. We were in a majority, we voted out all the people, and then we played amongst ourselves. Predictable. They're trying to create a bit of unpredictability, which is great for us. It's so horrible for a player because you just are at the mercy of chance. Who's got idols? Who's been to Immunity Island? There's tribe, what is it? The tribal council pass that's in play. There's a hidden immunity idol. I don't know if you saw that moment when they got back to the beaches after the swap. They showed a package in the tree. It was like so nonchalant, but boop, gone. So that means that there's another hidden immunity idol at that beach as well. I don't know if it is in addition to other idols that are coming back into the game. At this point, I would just assume everybody's got a damn idol. I don't know. Yeah, Fadil says, if Kwaito Cook's sister, which is Santuani, goes home, it will be a dark, dark day. It will be a dark day. Let's get to another question. Marius was talking about watching, just FYI, my season is back on screens on Mnet City. You can go and enjoy it. And Marius was just saying, LaRue confirmed. There is a possible dealio happening for us to watch Survivor Australia, Brains versus Brawn soonest. Yes, look at us. We like making alliances with Australian Survivor. Watch this space. South Africa, Australia, Survivor, coming to you live from Bloberg or Parklands, I don't know. Something, guys. I mean, can we imagine Luke playing against us? Would love it. Love it. Anyway, we can only dream. Okay. Can I just talk about the line of the episode while all of you lose your mind on the screen about that announcement that was just made? You heard it here first, everybody. On Jean's Recap Sunday Fam, you got it here first. You know where to come for the good tea. Catrice Murchie's joined us from Australia. It's late or early. I don't know what you're doing up, but anyway. Right. Let's get back to where we were. Drop your buffs, not tribe shuffle. And the words of the episode for me were when Nicole says, my heart nearly dropped out of my ass. That was such a great line. Yes, or David. Imagine Steffi, Marisha taking on the Aussies. I don't want to be against them. I'd like to be on the tribe with them. Anyway. What else is there to... Oh, can we talk about quickly Immunity Idol before we lose ourselves 100% here? Smash goes to Immunity Idol and plays a classic game from America called Cornhole. It's at every bar in America. I myself am a brilliant cornhole player. LaRue, just so that you know. I used to work at a summer camp as a summer camp counselor, guys. My best job ever. Did it for about 5 years of my life. Absolutely incredible. And down at the lake, every afternoon we would go and play cornhole. That game that Aneta played with the beanbags and the hole in the board. Cornhole. Cornhole. Go Google it. Make yourself one. It's so fun. He had a really short time. I would probably guesstimate maybe 3 minutes. Let me know if I'm right here. To get 5 beanbags in from a real big distance away. I will say cornhole isn't that far away. You are a little bit closer than that. It's a great game. And you have to, there's a strategy to get your beanbag in the hole. You should be trying to, 5 minutes, wow. You should be trying to slide your beanbag into the hole. It's very seldom that you get it in like all net. Great game. 5 minutes, long enough, I would have assumed. The problem is it was so far away, had to go get the beanbags, come back, go get the beanbags, come back. So if you don't nail it on your first or second attempt, I don't know. I would probably say that would have been 5 meters away, 4 meters away. That was a pretty big throw. But I loved seeing it. And it was a good gamble to take. At this point, I'm looking at Immunity Island and saying I wouldn't chance it. It looks too damn hard, the challenges. Yeah, 5 meters to run backwards and forwards if you've got to go collect your goodies afterwards. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they get to see the challenge before they make the call. I would have gone with it if it were me, but I've played the game. I know how to play it. But the distance is one thing. Anyway, good effort he gave. I think he got 3 out of the 5 in the end. But now he has no vote at the next tribal council. And goes in with immunity into that tribal council. Let's quickly talk about tribal council and the queen of tribal council, an absolute production gold. What a character, Warda. I love Warda. She also, at tribal council, has no filter, which at this point is not harming her because she was on the bottom, so who the hell cares what she says, right? And that moment where Anela says, low-key saying that I was the one who voted out Carla or responsible for... She says, no, I'm not low-key telling you anything. I'm literally saying that you were involved or you were the one calling the shots, voting out Carla. Boom, excuse you. Hi. Welcome to Tribal Council with Warda. Just doesn't mince her words, but makes like great sense. Doesn't spill any like golden information that anybody would be upset about her talking about in the episode. So she can go about her business. She can call out who she wants to. And now she's back into a tribe where she has numbers again. So she was on the bottom. So calling out anybody would have just been like, screw you. I'm going to say what I want to say. I said it last week that I think Warda, if you are in the merge and you're sitting down at tribal council and Warda is saying the words and just making such great sense and great points and stuff, she would be one that I would be very concerned sitting at the end with, just because of how she speaks about the game and how she goes forward and makes clear, great points, doesn't mince her words, and doesn't back down from a fight. The reason I lost Survivor is because I backed down at the fight. I was emotionally completely dumbfounded. I was disabled by the conflict at Survivor. I couldn't deal with it. I don't do well with confrontation. It literally cut my legs out from under me. Warda seems like somebody who will back up her fight, man. She will come at you swinging. And I would like to see that in the final 3. Because I assume, assumptions here, that we're going to go to a final 3. But I don't know because I can't do maths. Thank you, internet. We've got 4 minutes left. Are there any other questions that have come up? Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. There's quite a few. Can you place a... Yes. We've answered all those things. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you to the president for keeping us in lockdown for a little bit longer. I know that sounds condescending, guys, but honestly, shit is raging. Great news. The 35 plus will be able to get our vaccine soon, very soon. I think registration up to the 15th. Oh. That might be wrong. End of the month, we're about to register, and I think it opens on the 15th. So, I also don't like a final 3. I think one of the people is wasted, but I think maybe when we had that voting 2 people out in one episode, maybe we now go to a final 2. But I am not the brains of the operation. That is LaRue Botha and Henry LaRue. Henry Basson, sorry. Shit. What is his fucking surname, guys? Anyway, apologies for just... Henny, wait. No, Fadil, no. Listen, they know. No. That shit where they got to stand up and do whatever they want was the reason I lost my bananas. I was expecting everybody just to stand up and say their bits and sit down and be quiet. They didn't. They didn't sit down again, guys. Oh, it was a free-for-all. They just went bossies, guys. No. I like the format where you have your moment. You say what you need to say. You ask a question or you make a statement and you sit back down. LaRue's like teasing all of us here. He's having such fun on our Instagram live, Sunday fam. 2 minutes. Any last questions? Any last comments, guys? This season, I think, is at such a great pace. We are at episode 6 and we are full on. It's like no holds bars. There's so much gameplay happening. I hope it doesn't slow down and merge, but I think with the people that we have playing, it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens. I don't know what's happened to our little character, Kian. I don't know. She doesn't have much to say. Sad. Her nails look great, so still... Cassidy says, I want to see more seasons shot here in South Africa. Excuse me. I think the people on the show would have something to say about that with all the rain and the horribleness of the weather. But perhaps at a different time of year when it's not like feeling like you're death. When I see them in their jackets, I'm just like, it's bad. It's so bad. So bad. Guys... That's it. That's it. We will chat again on Sunday. Enjoy the episode on Thursdays. I will say the longer episode doesn't make for great timing to get home before the end of curfew. It's very tight. There's lots of traffic at that time of night. Be safe, guys. I know we're in lockdown. It does make things very difficult, but please, please, please do what El Presidente says. Wash your hands and all those goodies. Stay safe. I want to see you all here on Sunday. Have a great week. Go forth and prosper and try and find wine. Bye.